All right, Real Sports Fan Podcast back for another episode. Oh man, special guest. Got my guy coming through. Go back a long ways. You might know him as Ralph. Might know him as RJ Groves. Might know him as EastSide Jane. Whatever his other alias is.
That nigga, bro.
I'm gonna call him
That
Ralph
nigga,
tonight.
bro.
Got my boy. What's good, bro? What's
What's up,
good?
though, man? What's up with it?
Man, my guy, man. I appreciate this brother, man, because we can have a healthy debate and it's still love. You know,
Yeah,
we
it's
was on
facts.
Facebook. You know, we gonna get to the Ja Morant today and talk about that. He's got one perspective, you know, one side. I've got a different perspective, another side. I know other people do too. And man, we just gonna have a healthy conversation and talk about the incident with Ja with the guns and whatnot. But before we get to that, if you don't know, we're both big NBA fans, and we got Florida teams, right? So
Mm.
for the past couple of years, he's been telling me that Miami's done 3 out of 4 years in the conference championship. Getting ready to play tonight. Y'all will probably see this tomorrow, so we'll see what happens. But he's a Magic fan. I obviously, Pablo had a great year, rookie of the year, and you've been telling me about
Yeah.
the other cats on there, man. So just talk to me a little bit about your squad. If you want to talk about my squad too, we can talk.
I mean, man, like, I feel like, what I'm saying, we in like a real good position right now, man. I like the direction that my team is going in. You know what I mean? Like, people will look at our record, you know what I'm saying, and say, oh, they trash. They had the fifth worst
Mhm.
record in the league, you know what I mean? And all. But it's context, like, you got to add context to that. Like,
That's
you know what
right.
I mean? Like, a
I
lot
just
of people
yeah.
fail to realize we started the season off 5-20. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Like we lost or we lost 20 of our first 25 games.
Yeah.
And during that time span, we had 8 or 9 guys on the
Mm-hmm.
IR. Like, you know what I mean? We was playing G leaguers, like
Yep.
was getting viable minutes. We didn't have a starting point guard. Franz was playing point guard, you know
Yeah.
what I mean,
Yep.
when the season first started.
Right.
Soon as we get healthy, you know what I mean, we go on a run and start winning games to the point that we wasn't eliminated from the play-in
Yeah.
until the last like 4 or 5 games
Yeah.
of the season.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and this is coming from a team that started 5-20. Like, we a lot better than our record indicate.
I agree.
And now you combine that with the fact that we got 2 lottery picks
Mm-hmm.
in a draft that, you know what I mean, a lot of people think is one of the more deeper drafts in recent memory.
Yeah.
Man,
I
we
agree.
ready to go.
Let me stop you right there. I totally agree with you. I love the direction that y'all in. For a while y'all had the same type of player. That's why you needed me. You talked even last year before the draft, and I respect you because you had even said, you wasn't sure about, the other two. You wanted Pablo. I remember us talking about it. You
Yeah,
the go-to guy. Go with Wagner and those boys. You got the kid from Florida State back. You know what I'm saying? So Wendell Carter, you got him back. But you still got a lot of guards. With Cole Anthony,
yeah.
Gonzaga, Markel Fox, who's playing good ball. He's one of them guys you was talking about that was out. So what do you do guard wise? Do you think you got to get rid of them? And let me say this too. You're correct. 2 lottery picks, but you want that number one pick. Y'all almost slipped there.
I
Woo!
think this is the thing. Like, I think that if we would have landed the number one pick, you know what I
Trey,
mean? Like, obviously, like, I would have been happy, you know what I mean? But like I said this all
you gotta
along, like,
get it.
I don't feel like we need it. Like, you know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
we already have a star to build around. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Franz Wagner is a real good
I
second
do like him.
option.
I do like him.
And
Yeah.
and in my opinion, like, we still haven't seen, like, I still think that the best is yet to come for folks, man. Like, if folks can stay healthy, bro, like, you know what I mean? Like, he's a hooper.
That's
And
real.
I look at all that folks done been through already in his young career.
Yeah.
And for him to be able to overcome all that, you know what I mean? Like, that's not, you know what I mean? A lot of guys don't do that, man, especially when you the number one pick and you got all these expectations on you. Like, a
Mhm.
lot of guys can't handle that type of pressure. You know what
Right.
I mean? He suffered 2 major injuries in his first 4 years.
Yeah.
Like,
He
you,
came
you know
back
what I
and
mean?
really helped y'all last year. He did. He
He
came back and really helped y'all.
and it's been like that since he didn't join the team. When
Yeah.
he's on the court, we competitive. We
Yeah.
win games. You know what I mean? Like, he impacts winning.
Yeah.
So I hope he getting in that gym, man, and working on that shot. You know what I mean? Because I think that
Does that
like
mean Cole gone? That mean our boy Cole gone? Or who going then?
I think it's possible that Cole could, because I think in Cole's mind he still want to be a starter in
Oh,
the league. You know what I mean? So I think that him coming off of the bench, you know what I mean, is still kind of problematic for him in his mind. I would love for Cole to stay. You know what I mean? If he will really buy into that role, I think he can be one of the better six men in the
yeah,
league because he can come out and get you 20, 25. You know what I
right,
mean, on any given night.
right.
But it's just, is he gonna buy into that? You know what I mean? And I don't,
I
I
don't know.
don't know. I
Yeah.
can't say that I blame him for wanting to be a starter and all that. You know what I mean? But so
And
I don't know.
let me ask you this last thing about the Magic. Is Jonathan Isaac going to be the same? Because I loved him coming in. Like I love his game. You know, he's got a good build, good defensive player. The offense game will start to come along. You know, and then out 2 years, you think he can kind of regain that form a little bit?
Man, like it's so hard. Like it's
Yeah, it's hard to
so
describe.
hard talking about him because it's almost like he a unicorn or something. You know what I mean? Like just not real. Like
Young
just
too.
a figment of the imagination. Yeah, he's still young, but like it's so crazy because he played 11 games last year. And
Yeah,
in those 11 games, I think we was like 8-3 or something like when he on the court, he's a difference maker.
yeah,
But it's just about getting him on the court, man. Like at this point, like I never want to label a guy and say, oh, he gonna get hurt this year, or you know what I mean, he can't stay healthy.
yeah.
But
Sometimes
it
it is.
kind of is, yeah, it is, you know what I mean? What it is with him, and he just can't, you know what I mean? He just ain't been able to. It's hard to like bank on him, but if he's healthy, just his defense alone is enough to help a team win. Like,
Right.
you know what I
I,
mean?
I agree with you.
Anything that he give you offensively, that's kind of like a bonus, you know what I mean? But just his defense alone is extremely impactful. And like in those 11 games he played this year, you still saw that, you know what I mean? So it's like you still holding out hope,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. And obviously, Pablo's gonna get better. I mean, that kid's gonna be nice, but
yeah,
until Jimmy out of there, and I ain't gonna lie to you, people will tell you I was on Jimmy back because Jimmy was coaching through the
yeah.
regular season. I was hot with him. I'm like, what's going on? Like, you know what I'm saying? But hey, he didn't make me shut up in the playoffs. He didn't went to playoff Jimmy again, man. So until Jimmy gone, man, y'all still the second team in Florida, but it's all good.
But
It's
see, you know, that's when he really come alive though.
He
Like,
did.
you know what I
He
mean?
did. He
Like
only had
he's
that one
the
man series a couple years ago against Milwaukee, but that was right after the bubble, and
yeah,
that was a weird season, So
right.
yeah, but because he balled obviously in the bubble, but yeah, man. Again, man. Thanks for jumping on, man. Want to get to the Ja Morant. Man, just give me your perspective. Cause like I said, I know it was a couple of posts, and you can't read, but so much
Right,
from
right,
there.
right.
So I looked at a little bit of it, but just tell me your perspective on Ja, because I think once you give me your perspective, and then I'll tell you what I think. I think some of the miscommunication in the middle, we probably were saying two different things, But let me just hear you out.
I mean, my whole thing is I don't like I'm not about like tearing people down when they make poor
Right,
decisions.
right.
And I feel like, especially like not to get into like race or nothing like that, but that's a problem with us in our community is that, you know what I mean, we be so quick to like tear people down. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not saying that what he did wasn't in poor taste or, you know what I mean, he probably should have went about it better.
Mm-hmm.
But my whole thing is like, you know what I mean, as a 23-year-old, like still he probably still trying to figure out a lot of stuff in his life. Like didn't none of us have it all figured out at 23. It doesn't matter if he making 100 million or like whatever. Like that don't mean that like, you know what I mean, he's gonna be more mature than the average 23-year-old. You know what I mean? I get the responsibilities that he has and all of that. But just like I just feel like people need to take a step back, you know what I mean, and just not be so quick to, you know what I mean, to condemn somebody, you know what I mean, for using poor judgment sometimes when we all done been there.
Oh yeah.
And my biggest, I think that my biggest problem with it was people calling for him to be suspended for half a season or
I got
a
a problem
full
with that. I
season.
agree with you
I
on
just
that.
think that
Yeah.
that's like that's crazy to me. Like
Yes,
you know what I mean?
I
Like
didn't. Yeah, yeah. I'm with you on that. Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Like in my eyes, that's crazy. Like especially when, and I know that you were saying that it's not really a comparison,
Mhm.
but a guy like Miles Bridges did something totally worse than what Ja did.
He
I
broke the
mean,
law.
what
Oh,
Ja did
yeah, he
just
broke the
looks
law.
bad.
Right. Miles Bridges broke the law. I get you. Yeah, I'm with you.
It
Yeah.
just looks bad. Like you know what I mean? Like people just like it's like what he did is perception based.
Hmm.
Like it's some people that don't really see nothing wrong with that. You know what I mean? And it's some people that feel a certain type of way. But at the end of the day, like it's not like he didn't break the law. Like you know what I mean? It's not no victims. Like you know what I mean? So like it's just like pull back a little bit. Like you know what I mean? Like everybody want to pile on him, and it's just like I'm like nah, man. Like you know, like hopefully he will figure it out.
Right, right,
But
right.
I'm just not gonna down somebody, you know what I mean, because they done made some poor decisions, man. Because I done been there, like I'm sure we all done been
All have been
there.
there,
You know what I
bro.
mean?
Get 23 at 33. You know what I mean? Gonna keep,
Right, right.
every day or something, man. But let me first say I respect all that. And let me first say, uh I definitely don't want to see or don't think he deserve a half season or a season. I mean, we ain't talking about no Gilbert Arenas. He didn't bring guns in the locker room. So
Right.
nothing like that. So see, I didn't see any of that problem. Obviously, some of the cats on TV, but I don't pay no mind like what they talk about having games. But I will say I heard JJ Redick and I did like what he said. He was only saying like some people was saying half a season, like some of the people on ESPN, he was saying he could say being double the games that he had before. Because it was I had to edit this out. Somebody calling. Thing. Can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah.
I'll edit that out. um. So yeah. So JJ Redick was saying that he could see it being double from the first time. I think it was 8 games. And so 16, but no, it shouldn't be no half season, nothing like that. But I don't really
Right.
care about the suspension part because I don't think he deserves like a whole bunch of games. So the only thing I will say is that he did the interview with Jalen Rose, after the first time. And
Yeah.
the reason, obviously the first time he did it, you ain't hear from me or I just let it kind of be. Everybody make mistakes. And I'm not saying he's not going to make more mistakes, but to make the same mistake after you sat down with Jalen Rose, Jalen Rose, he said he'd been through worse. He said, hey, Jalen Rose said, hey, I'm glad social media went out when I was doing my thing. You know what I'm saying? So Jalen Rose understood. He sat down with Jalen Rose. He sat down with the commissioner. The commissioner was talking last night on the draft, just about,
I
how
seen
disappointed.
that too.
Yeah,
Seen that.
he had the face to face with John. They talked. He thought, and again, he didn't break a law. Like we know that. Like what I'm saying. So I only say not to compare it to the Miles Bridges, or even to us in a certain sense, because I think we're forgetting. To me, he's Ja Morant. Now,
Right.
what I mean by that, the only thing you did say, which is fine. I said, man, Rock, I said, because he think he's slick. I said, because I didn't mean that athletes over a teacher or like you said, religion or not like that. But I'm just saying how kids, perceive when they see that person on TV. You know what I'm saying? That's why I gave the example of Richard Jefferson, with his child, it seemed like a clip and was asking questions. And like you said, as parents, you're going to explain. Will Bond say he told his son he not buying the Morant. So every parent has their thing. And again, he
Right.
didn't break the law, but my thing is it's the second time. And you sat down, especially talking about, when you sit down talking to an OG like Jalen Rose, who been there. I'm not saying he can't make a mistake, but and I'll turn it back to you. Then the way it happened, it's like, come on, like I got my homeboy here. He's the one on Instagram Live. Like first of all, you want to do that's fine, but bro, what are you doing?
Right.
Yeah, like what I'm saying. Like, and obviously you can see like he didn't realize it, and but that same friend has had other incidents. I think he's got over like six incidents. You know what I'm saying with outside the Pacers arena, and then we ain't got going up, but at finish line, I think his mom called him about something playing bad pickup. I mean, it's a couple of different things, and we don't want to see. And like only reason I brought the money part too, because that was funny too. The only reason I brought that part up is because he's the one that tweeted after the All NBA teams was announced that he was upset. And I
Right.
would ask you this, ball, better than a lot. Man, if that didn't happen, man, he would have been all NBA. And if he would have been all NBA, bro, he was gonna get 44 million. So that's just public information. So I wasn't saying that to be like, worry
Yeah.
about his money. But I'm just saying he tweeted, he the one that was like, I'm pissed. So my thing is not saying you can't have fun, but man, go ahead and get that gym and show him next year. Like I'm coming back. Because now already next year, whatever amount of games he misses is going to set him back. You know what I mean? So let me
Yeah.
hey, what you think? That's all I was trying to say.
I just like I just think that, you know what I mean, like we gotta be better about like who we viewing as like role models
Most
and like
definitely.
who we got our kids looking up to and all of that, especially if it's clear that like at this point in his life, like he really not trying to like he's not at the point in
Not
his
that
life right now where he can be a positive role model for nobody's like children. And
yeah.
like that's not like you can't really fault him for that. Like that's a lot of responsibility. You know what I mean? And especially when you just a basketball player, like you just an athlete, like you know what I mean? You're not thinking about it like that. Like
Hey, let me
Michael
say something.
Jordan,
Let me say something real
Michael
quick.
Jordan, all right,
I'm
go
glad
ahead.
you made. I'm glad you made that point. Remember that Michael Jordan comment because I will say this to defend that too. And I was thinking about this today. Look at the leap that he made. Nobody didn't know who he was coming to South Carolina. He went to what Murray State, and in
Right,
2 years, what I mean, he became Ja. So it's not like
right,
he was that hype guy. You know what I mean? So I didn't want to
right,
interrupt.
yeah.
You know what I mean,
Yeah, but you got Jordan, arguably the biggest athlete of all time, that got on camera on TV and said that he don't want to be no role model. He's
yeah,
not a role model.
yeah.
So I think that sometimes we kind of put these guys on that level, on that pedestal, but they don't really want to be. Like they just
I
want
agree
to
with that.
hoop and play basketball. You know what I mean? So like people gotta understand that, like, yeah, like I get it that kids are gonna look up to them, but that's why kids have to be taught. Like, don't look up to Ja Morant. Look to be better than Ja Morant. Like,
Mhm.
you know what I mean? In every
Yeah, you definitely
aspect.
gonna make that a teachable moment for your child. I mean,
Yeah, right.
you definitely gonna make that a teachable moment. Most definitely. Yeah, that's what Richard Jefferson. Most definitely. Like you
Right.
got yeah.
But I just don't like, you know what I mean, like people saying that he like failing as a role model and he's supposed to be a role model and he gotta be like, no, he don't. Like, you know what I mean? Like he doesn't have to, like he don't owe my kids nothing. He don't owe your kids nothing. Like, you know what I mean? Like he signed up to hoop, bro. Now, you know what I mean? Whatever responsibilities outside of that that people are trying to place on him at 23 years old, like he don't gotta recognize that.
Right, right. I agree. I agree with that. But again, only thing I'm saying is you gotta remember though. And again, I'm not saying you're not gonna make mistakes, but I didn't expect it to be this soon off the same thing. Like you listening to whatever he listened to with the strap as Skip said today. You know what I'm saying, like in the car and then and obviously I agree with you, man. Like I know Stack Jack, Steven Jackson. He was talking about obviously like he had a picture on IG I think of Chris Kaman with guns and
Yeah,
obviously he had a picture of the politicians would get like obviously that's an obvious as black people we know
right,
as black people we know that, but even though we know that, it still don't mean just again not being hard on them, but
right,
one, it don't mean that we can hold our own accountable, and then two, like I said, not to bring it to us because we not Ja Morant, but man, if any of us, if we boys, if that's me, Carl, one of us slipping, bro, we gonna tell each other, and we might not even
right,
talk.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? We gonna tell each other like, yo, you might want to chill. Like we got bigger
yeah,
things. That's all I'm saying. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, but again, I understand 23, bro. We both made mistakes in our 20s. Like I said, he gonna make mistakes, but to where he's at, and I hope, whether it's I don't know what he needs. I don't think he needs therapy like Jay Will, and that did piss me off a little bit the first time. And it made me mad, but at the same time, now I feel like darn, should he have? Because I'll tell you this, I send it back to you. Jay Will, he had talked about when I think because then they had made y'all go to like therapy or something like that for a couple of
yeah, yeah, yeah. He had to
years.
go down to Florida.
Yeah. He was saying, well, I don't think you got to be in there a certain amount of time, to have quote unquote change behavior, which I know that's true to change behavior, but I didn't think he needed to be in there longer, like Jay Will was saying. I was thinking like, oh man, he good, man. He learned a couple of days, so that's probably another reason why I'm like, darn, he got me. You know what I mean? Not that I know the man, but it's like,
Right,
you know what I'm saying? I didn't expect to see that. I thought it was like the same video or something. When
right.
I'm like, this
Yeah,
game is the same thing. You know what I'm saying? I mean, obviously, different places or whatnot, but again, he didn't break a law. We're still going to support. No one's saying, dismiss him, cancel him, man. I mean, it's Ja Morant. You know what I'm saying? I totally agree with you. We always gonna have those teaching moments with our kids and stuff like that. But and that's why whether it's what's on TV or what's going on in the news, all that. But and I know I try to get a couple other the guys on the time couldn't make, and a couple people we probably have. I know y'all have more in depth conversations, but again, my stance is let's just do better. We're not judging them.
Right.
You know what I mean? We should wrap our arms around him and help him. You know what I'm saying? But man, I think sometimes he just don't understand he's Ja Morant. Again, not as a role model. I'm
Yeah.
talking about in the NBA, which is a private entity where they can make their own rules up. You know, I know we don't want to get a Simmons suspended long either, but they can make their own
Right.
stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you
But
know.
see, like I just feel like, and that was one of my problems, is because I don't feel like his organization is necessarily handling him in
Mm-hmm.
the right way. Like,
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, because like people were saying, well, he got into the Foot Locker incident. He got into the
yeah,
incident with when he beat up the kid.
yeah,
Like, you know what I mean? All these incidents, they swept underneath the rug. You know what I
yeah.
mean? Like, you know what I mean? He should have got punished when they found out that he beat on that 17-year-old boy. Should have got punished for that, for threatening the dude at Foot Locker with with with
His
the
mom
gun.
was yeah,
Now it's like
yeah.
now it's like y'all want to come down on him for the least harmful thing he did in the past 4 months. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I just don't get that. Like, you know what I mean? I kind of feel like the league and his organization has been enabling him, when I feel like it might have never got here if you wouldn't have been turning a blind eye to the stuff that he was doing for the past 3 months. Like, you know what I mean? So it's just like it's almost like it's selective outrage now, you know what I mean? Like, I don't really understand that.
And that's a
Like, I don't
great
really.
point. I'm gonna be honest with you. Not that your other points weren't good. Like I said, we did agree to disagree on some stuff, but that was the best point you made. And see, I didn't even look at it like that. And that's so true what you said. Like basically, you're saying if the organization didn't enable some of this stuff, or after the first or two incidents, because most organizations would, I agree,
Right.
something like that happened, that could have stopped or prevented some of this stuff now that you see down the road with the guns. That's not putting words in your mouth, but that's how I take it. Saying, yeah,
Yeah, like it just
didn't look at it
like,
like,
you know,
didn't look at it like
and and like I don't believe that like the league really had, like, it just seems like the NBA, and it's not just them, like it's the NFL, the MLB, like they
shield.
pick and choose when they want to take this moral high ground. You know what I mean? Like, but it's not like they operate off of that 24/7, 365. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we can get mad at job for waving guns and all of that, but if you go to an NBA game, like, you know what I mean, you can hear them playing
Yeah,
explicit music
that's true.
during timeouts.
Yeah,
Like, so if this is for the family, like if this is a family league, like, you know what I mean, then why can I take my kids to a game and hear them blasting music over the PA system about
especially
shooting
in
people
Memphis,
and
especially
murder? Yeah, yeah, especially Memphis.
yeah,
So it's like I just feel like it's real hypocritical to come down on Ja
yeah.
and then like just turn a blind eye to the organization that's basically supporting the same kind of behavior.
Yeah, no, I respect that because I think I'm trying to think even NFL, not necessarily NFL, but I feel like it's been an incident too where most times something like that, yeah, they might find a player, suspend the player. Most times, like they'll find the team too. Like for instance, I don't know if you can follow the WNBA with the Erica Hamby with Becky Hammond. They suspended her and then they
Yeah,
picked from the team because of the workplace, discrimination and all that with her being pregnant. But I just say all that to say that's a good point. And again, I didn't look at it like that. And that is true. That after them first two incidents, because if you think about it, at least I didn't hear about them until the first gun incident. I didn't know he had all that other stuff going. So like you said,
right.
sweeping under the rug. And then again, if you stop that behavior, maybe down the road this doesn't happen. But again, he didn't break a law. He has a right, to own a gun. No one's saying that. And I totally get what you're saying. And I'm definitely not trying to be hard or critical, but again, the second time, it's just like, bro, it's only been a couple months. And then plus when you come after the press conference after they lost to the Lakers, and he even said, I know why we didn't get as far, and I've got to be better. He meant on and
Right.
off. Like he said it. And again, stuff happens. Like what I mean. But and then to his boy, let me ask you this. Let me ask you this, and then we're trying to wrap it up. The crew that's around, right? What do you say? And what I mean by that is, I know some people trying to blame his dad. Some people but he's a man. I know he's young, but he's 23.
Right.
Makes his own
Right.
decision. the crew around him, does that need to change? Because especially with the one guy, because I actually used to look at his Ja Morant documentary, so I actually know what guys they talking about too. You know,
Yeah.
but do you need to change who's around him?
I think that because and like, you know what I mean, people was trying to jump on his homeboy about this situation. But if you notice, like he put the phone down like immediately.
He
Like
did.
when
He
he
knew
so
he slipped up. Yeah,
so
yeah,
like
yeah,
I can't really say that like I really
yeah.
don't think that he knew that
It's not
Ja was
like he
about
was
to
like this. Yeah, it's not
yeah,
like he the
yeah.
phone was like yeah,
Yeah, like because he knew like it was a
as soon as he
potentially
put it.
bad situation. So
Right,
I think, but I just think that they all young. They probably never been around this type of money before
yeah,
and this type of fame,
yeah,
and they got a learn together. I'm not going to necessarily say that he need to cut those guys off because I don't personally know those guys to know really what type of character they
right,
got.
right.
But I will say if it is a detriment to him getting to where he need to be, then yeah, but you know what I mean? It's kind of hard for me to say because I don't really know the character
Yeah,
of these dudes. Like, you know what I mean? If they getting locked up every couple months or you know what I mean, whatever, but you know
which
what
I
I
don't
mean?
think they are. Yeah, 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 and that's real. I mean, and that's real. Like you said, obviously we don't, but you just you want to see young black men be successful and obviously we already know how the gun laws and stuff is anyway. But I like what you said though earlier. That is true. Obviously race is always gonna be a factor as well, but at the same time, there's nothing wrong what I say calling something incorrect or dumb or whatever you want to say, not the individual, but just the act, just the action. We've all been there. Again, he'll learn from it. You know what I'm saying? He'll learn from it. But my thing was just holding them accountable. I definitely get what you're saying. Definitely not trying to pass judgment on them or nothing like that.
Yeah, but see, I just think that like if we gonna hold
Mhm.
them accountable for everything. Like, you know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like
yeah, yeah,
don't like,
yeah.
you know what I mean? Cause
Oh,
like
it's not just the guns, right, right, right.
let me ask you this.
Mhm,
What to you is more egregious? Him waving a gun on camera that, you know what I mean, not trying to justify or make excuses,
mhm.
but it might not even been loaded. Is
Yeah.
that more egregious than him beating up a 17-year-old kid?
Yeah, I think definitely beating up the 17-year-old because of the act, the violent act of it. Obviously, the gun outrage, like you said, it's not a law. He didn't break a law. That's more of what he should and should be doing. Because I give you an
Right,
example. Someone said on the radio, and things happen, right, with guns. Like, what I mean, if you want to own a gun, it's up to you, But they were saying, well, it's not like he had a holster on and he walking with the holster. If the gun go off, he shoots somebody in the car, that happened, So obviously they're gonna think, and it's nothing wrong with thinking
right,
that because things do
right.
happen fast, right? So that's why I'll say that obviously beating up a 17-year-old, you don't want that. What I mean? And he didn't break a law with the gun, but I definitely, understand what you're saying. And let me say this. I think another reason why the commissioner probably is a little hot too. And this probably doesn't matter. It's basketball, and especially me as a basketball junkie. I know they also, forget Nike and Party and all that. He's got that. But I know they also wanted him to be the face of Team USA, coming up in 24. You know what I mean? As that American point guard that they need. So I also think, with that going on, when you face another country and stuff like that, they just don't want that. It's just
Right.
I
Yeah.
want, I mean,
Yeah.
that's just what it is. You know what I mean? So I think that's another thing that people are not saying, but I'll say that I think that's a situation as well. But that's my opinion.
You know what I mean? And see, I really didn't know about that. And like you definitely making a valid point, you know what I mean, with that if they want him to be, I guess,
Yeah,
you know what I mean, the captain or you know what I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
whatever, you know what I'm saying? But I just think, like I think that he gonna figure it out, you know what I mean? Like it's I couldn't imagine like, you know what I mean, constantly having all of my moves
Oh man, that's a lot.
critiqued and you know what I
Yeah,
mean, like criticized, you know what I mean. Obviously he getting paid a lot of money. So,
yeah,
you know what I mean, he can't really like he signed up for that. But
right.
I still think that at the root of all that, we gotta realize that these people human, man. Like, you know what I
Yeah,
mean? They not robots, they not AIs, like, you know what I mean, they human just like me and you. So they bound to make mistakes. It's just theirs gonna get magnified. You can
right,
like
right.
you know what I mean? Ours might only a few people know about it.
Yeah,
But there's, you know what I mean, the whole world gonna know about it and talk about it, you know what I mean? And I just don't wanna see these guys like get tore down. Like not to like switch topics too much, but
Yeah.
do you remember when Shakari Richardson had got in trouble for the
Yeah, with
smoking
the
the weed?
weed. Yeah, I
Right,
remember
and like
that was
everybody kind of like tore her down and had these opinions, you know what I mean?
yeah, that's a good point.
We
That's a good
don't know what these people going through though, you know what I
yeah,
mean, at
yeah,
certain times. And a lot of them are still young, like, you know what I mean? So they're gonna make these mistakes. It just so happens that they in the spotlight to where as though theirs gonna get blown out of proportion. Like, you know what I mean?
don't even get me
I just
started on
don't.
that one, man, because I disagree with that one, man. Like that was crazy. Don't even get me started with that.
But
But I
you
get it.
see how
I
many
get the
people
outrage.
like
Yeah,
jumped
yeah.
down her throat and was calling her dumb, and you know what I mean? Like,
And to your point, and that's a good point, because let me call myself. That's a good point, because I just said I had a problem with Ja Morant, but I didn't have a problem with Shakari Richardson. So I could have been on the other side, as you saying, like on that side. So
right,
again, we
right,
all have, and that's what's good to have conversation, because whatever side on, you can always bring valid points up, you know what I'm saying, about it, because even with that, I did see people saying, well, I know, weed is legal in some states, but federally, or with Team USA or whatever, she looked
right,
she before and all that. And it was just crazy, man. You just see some
right.
do so good like her, with all she'd been through and all she was coping with. But again, so yeah, don't yeah, but that's a great point. That's a great point. I didn't think about that. I didn't think about
That's all I'm saying is I would rather us like, all right, yeah, like you know what I mean. It's some people out there that's probably disappointed, you know what I
yeah,
mean, and
yeah,
that's fair. Like I'm not saying that, you know what I mean. That's completely fair if that's how you feel, but we just don't need to be tearing these people down, man. You know what I mean? Because like you said, if they're gonna be the role models that people
yeah,
want them to be, it's
yeah.
not gonna come from us tearing them down, man. Like you know what I mean? You know that that's not how it's gonna happen.
Yeah, yeah, that's real. That's real. Hey, that's real, man. And and it's funny because you suckered me into it anyway, because I think the first thing you said, I think it might be your saddest. Yeah, I think Ty commented was who snitched. So I was like, Ralph crazy. So I was just reading the
But
comments.
see, look, I was
I
trolling though when I
know,
said that though.
I
I
know.
was
But see,
trolling,
that's what's
man.
funny. That's what's funny. Like thinking back, because it did certain people know how it wrote me. So you said that was funny, but then the next day I see you commenting on Gary. I was like, come on, Ralph, man. Like you overreacting. And again, I thought you was overreacting a bit too. But again, I understand your side. Like so, we can always agree to disagree. It's all love. I get it, because we all have a side, in a lot of things. You know what I mean? But I definitely get what you're saying, man. Hopefully you understand me more now as well.
Yeah, yeah, nah, I definitely feel y'all, but I'm
Yeah,
just like, man,
yeah.
he done did way worse, bro.
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah. You put that. I mean, those are great points. I mean, he definitely done way worse. Yeah, like he definitely done way worse. So I get that. It's just that it's just one of those things, man. With being a professional athlete, like you said, the microscope is always going to be on you. Unfortunately, man. I mean, that's what comes with it. And like you said, man, I know I couldn't imagine. That's why I always say, let me be rich, not famous. Like I'll be rich,
right, yeah,
money, but famous, man. They they on you all the time. And like I said, I know obviously this time it was his boy. Obviously, he didn't mean to do it. You know what I mean? With social media, man, like I say, man, at that age, I'm glad. Like when I was in high school and even college and stuff, man, Facebook and all that just started coming around that time, like 2004, 3, 4, 5, all that. You know what I'm saying? It's been evolving, man. But you just gotta be careful. But they'll be good, man. Like you said, they'll be good. But I definitely respect it, man. And Memphis it's going to depend on how many games he misses. And I get up itch off here with this though. It's going to suck though, because Memphis, man, like they still got a young team. Hopefully they get guys back. Obviously Brandon Clark and those guys, Adams, missing those guys. But if he misses a substantial amount of games, which again, I did say I don't think he should miss no half season, even
no,
a quarter of the season. I'm not saying that at all. You know what I'm saying? But I do know they're gonna give him something, because man, you seen the commissioner, man, and
yeah, he seemed like he was real disappointed. You know
yeah,
what I mean? So
because he hasn't been David Stern. David Stern always was hard on
yeah,
players. If you look at Adam Silver, he's really a player's commissioner. You know what
it
I'm
seemed
saying?
like it.
He know what it does, but man, you could tell, man, he even took a little while to say what he's gonna say, like to get himself.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, so
And see, I didn't know about that conversation that they had. You know what I
yeah,
mean? And
yeah,
that, you know what I mean? That kind of
yeah. It
that
changed a little
that
bit.
kind of changed
Yeah,
my opinion a little
yeah.
bit. You know what I mean? Because if you look a man in his eye and you know
That's
what I
it.
mean, had that
That's it.
heart to heart with him.
That's what I thought, bro. Yeah.
And like, you know what I mean, it's kind of different. But when I had got into the back and forth with y'all, I didn't know about all that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But yeah, it do kind of change. Like it definitely changes, you know what I mean, like the way that I'm looking at it now, because it's like, man, that's not
Look at man.
just anybody. Like
That's
that's
right.
your commissioner that
That's
you
right.
know what I mean, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
So, and that's real, bro. That's real, man. Hey, good convo. I appreciate it, man. I'm gonna get here and let you go, man. Get ready, check my boys out. Now, look,
oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
you know I'm a fan, but I did pick Boston in 6. Let me hear your let me hear your thoughts real quick on both series. Sure, we got a couple minutes. Let me hear your thoughts. I got Boston in 6, and I got LA in 6, and I did pick Denver to win the first game. I kind of knew how that was going to go. I got the rivalry renewed. Lakers, Celtics, the battle for championship 18. That's what I got going on. So what you think?
I can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Hold up.
I think that your phone might have went in. I heard somebody try to call you.
Nah, my beats done turned off.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I can hear you.
All right, yeah. I think that in the Denver LA series, I just think that like Denver kind of like, you know what I mean, like this might be their time right now, you know what I mean, to really, because if you notice, like they didn't been up near the top of their conference for about last 4 or 5 years now. They had that one year where guys was banged up and stuff like that, and they didn't make it as far. But so I'm looking at them to break the ice in this next series. I think that as this series carries on, their role players are a little bit more equipped to step up and handle, you know what I mean? Because you got guys like Bruce Brown, like he's had that playoff experience. Porter Jr., like he's had some playoff experience. And I just don't know if the Lakers guys really have that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, Austin Reeves looked good, but as the stakes get higher and higher, like, you know what I mean, is he gonna continue to show up? And I think last night, when you have a game like that where you get so much production out of those three and still lose, like, you know what I mean? Like, I think, you know what I mean? Like, it could be like, because they're not going to always play that good like they played last night.
Who you talking about, Reeves?
Huh? Yeah. I'm talking about Reeves, AD, and LeBron.
All right. Hold on. Come on, man. Hold on. Now, come on now. I'm with you with the role players. But hey, AD and Ron gonna be AD and Ron. Come on now. Just like Jokic gonna be Jokic and Murray to an extent. Even I think Murray's capable of having one or two bad games. You know, but AD and Ron, you pencil them
AD
in.
is too though.
AD gonna get
AD is too.
Who?
AD's capable of having those bad games too. Like if he had 40
I think he
last night,
passed that
he
game.
might come out and do 12 tomorrow.
This is why I think it's different though. This is why I think it's different because defensively he always gonna bring it. Now I know it's hard to stop Yoke, but you see the adjustment, you know, Darvin made with Hashimura on him.
But they need him offensively too. It can't just be defensive.
But
they need him offensively too, and he don't always bring it.
I agree with that. Let me say this about the offense. Let me go back first to Denver comments. Now, really, Murray's missed 2 years. You know what I mean? So he's back, and you see, you know, Murray's a very good player, very good. So, but I think he's capable of a game or two. Now, Porter Jr., he can hit the three. A little bit of experience, yeah. But let me say this: you talk about the Laker role players, and I like KCP. I'm going to mention him. Is KCP always going to get you what 19, 21? Bruce Brown. I do like Bruce Brown, but man, he had like 11 or 12 in the first quarter. Not always going to happen. They're about they basically run about 8 deep. They play Jeff Green as a backup center. You know, I hear people talking about they're deeper, but really to me the Lakers are deeper. So let me say this. I'll turn it back to you. I understand what you're saying about AD, but there's probably Lakers probably need 2 role players out of 5 to play good to help AD and Bron every night. And plus, man, Bron, he looked good last night. Like I'm just talking about way he moved. Like he didn't really movement wise didn't look good to me the first couple rounds. Like he looked a little heavier. I don't know if it's foot or what, but the way he was moving last night. But let me tell you this. So out of Reeves, I heard you saying about Reeves, but you got Reeves, Schroeder, D'Angelo Russell, who's going to have a good game because from what I understand, Bruce Brown said something. last night. I don't know what he said. I didn't look it up, but he's always bounced back. Hashimura, right? So I said 5. So actually, out of those 4, no, and Lonnie Walker 5. I'm tripping. Out of those 5 guys, you telling me each game, 2 of the 5 can have a good game? When I say good game, it could be 12 with 4 threes.
Right? Yeah, nah.
You know what I'm saying? It don't gotta be 20. You know what I'm saying? 2 out of them 5 can help AD and Bron each game, bro. That's
the
all.
chances of that are really high, but you still need Bron and AD to carry that load. Like, you know what I mean?
You trying to say they can't do that no more?
You need AD to go out and be who he was last night.
He can't get 40. I will say that. He can't rely on 40 every night, though.
And we know that sometimes he has lapses. Like, you know what I mean? Like, against a team like Denver, like, you're not gonna be able to get away with that. You know what I mean? Just with the style of basketball that they play. I think that, you know what I mean, they play such a team game, you know what I mean, where your stars gotta be stars against them, you know what I mean? Like, or you're gonna struggle. And I just, you know what I mean, I think that like AD could be arguably the best player in the league on both ends of the floor. The reason he's not, I feel like, is because of AD, like who he is. You know what I mean? So, like when they play in the bubble, like, you know what I mean, like he was a different guy. AD was dominant. You know what I mean? And then it's like that kind of
I know
goes
he had
away.
5
Like
games,
it comes and goes.
To me, he back there though. And I get what you're saying, but he done had consecutive games. Now, I know game 1 just started, you know,
right,
going off of game 6, you know, Golden State. But I just feel like he turned that corner again. I'm not saying I don't think he has to get that each night, because I think Bron this series is capable of going for a couple of 30s, man. Like, I know that's a lot to ask at 38, but I think he is, man. I think, you know, and then the way he gets off the ball now, you know, let Reeves, and again, D'Angelo Russell, bro, I know you didn't bring him up, bro. He's gonna have a good game next game, bro. He always bounces back after a bad game. He's gonna have a good game. Watch. We're gonna hit you tomorrow. He'll have a good game. So let me say this before we move to Miami and Boston. I know I get you off here. So are you saying Denver and how many? Because it sounds like you saying Denver. So how many you got?
I'm gonna say Denver. I want to say Denver and 5, but I'm gonna say Denver and 6 though. I'm gonna say Denver and 6.
Oh, you feel
think that I just feel like, you know what I mean, like it's
Ralph
like
and 5?
it's their time. Like I want to say that, but I'm gonna say Denver and 6 though. But I would not be surprised if they, because I feel like last night, I feel like last night, like, you know what I mean, was like they weathered
Never played perfect last night and barely won.
If you just look, all right, but that's what I'm saying though. Like if you just look at the box score on what AD did, what Bron did, what Reeves did, you would not have expected them to lost that game. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
we gotta look at the game.
Right, nah. But I'm just saying, just looking at the box score. But you not like, I don't think
Denver box score. Is Aaron Gordon gonna keep playing like that? KCP, Aaron Gordon, talk to me. Come on.
I feel like with Murray and Jokic, you know what you're gonna get. Same thing they've been giving you this whole postseason. You know what I mean?
Hold on. Stop right there, Ralph. See, we get into a debate now. Hold on. Now you just told me you don't know if you can count on LeBron and AD, and I'm fine with Jokic. That's my guy. But you tell me you know you can get Murray every night. Murray's gonna have a bad game in this series. No,
yeah, like, but so is Bron too. Like, you know what I mean? Like all these guys are gonna have bad games. Bron had bad games last series.
Yeah, but I'm telling you, Bron turned the switch, man. I'm telling you, I see how he looked last night, man. I'm telling you, Bron will have at least 25 in each game this series. Do you believe that? At least 25? It's got to be impactful, though. I know it's got to be impactful. So, you know, some points aren't impactful.
Are we talking about an efficient 25 or just 25? No, I don't believe that he will have an efficient 25 points every game this season.
And I do, so that's why I think he'll play good. So, and again, when I say efficient, I mean I know they shoot more threes than they did when he was on the Heat. So I mean I know he might go.
And that's a problem for him though. But that's a problem for him. He's shooting 25% from the 3-point line in the postseason.
Yeah, he's got to post more. More.
Why is he shooting so many threes?
He got to post more. You know, I think when you get up in age, you know, obviously, you know, I shoot a little more threes at the Y now. You know, you don't feel like
can't take all that banging on your body. You can't take all that banging no more. Huh?
Man, talk to me about Boston, Miami, man.
Man, I'm with you, man. I think it'll be Boston in 6. Like, you know, I just think that tandem they got, man, Tatum and and Brown. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Philly had him
that
too.
thing clicking.
Philly had him 2 in 6. Philly had the game, couldn't finish.
That's Doc Rivers though, man. Like,
Don't make
that's Doc
adjustments.
Rivers.
Yeah.
That's Doc Rivers. Like, but yeah, I think like, you know what I mean? I like what Miami, like, you know what I mean, has done to make it to where they at right now. I think that them losing Harrow, like, you know what I mean, that had a
It
big,
had another effect. It surprised me. I ain't gonna lie to you. It surprised me.
like, you know what I mean? So I just don't, and Bam, like, you know what I mean? Like, I gotta see Bam, like, take his game to the next level, I think, if they gonna seriously compete
You gotta
against.
score more. You
He
gotta
got
score.
to score more. He got to score more. Like Jimmy gonna need him because I think that this series will probably be the hardest series for Jimmy as far as like, you know what I mean, he's still gonna get his, but just with the
Defense.
different combinations of guys that they can put on him to make it difficult. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think that it's gonna be, you know what I mean, like it's been for him these past couple seasons. So other people gonna have to step up, and I just don't know if I think that the only thing that can
Kyle Lowry look a little healthier this year though compared to last. He's looking better.
like the only thing that I think could really save the Heat is if it comes down to coaching. I give y'all the advantage.
Yeah.
I give y'all the advantage when it comes to coaching, and there is some questions about, you know what I mean, Boston's head coach.
It is.
So like, you know what I mean, I think that it's going to be a good series. If I had to put my money on it, I would go with the Celtics just because, like, you know what I mean, I think that they got more top end firepower.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? I think that it could be like, you know what I mean? It wouldn't surprise me if somehow y'all managed to win because I think that y'all got better leadership, you know what I mean, than they do. And that matters come playoff time. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, we're gonna play hard. That's one thing too. And I tell you what, I'll leave you with this. If they do let us beat them, and it's already some good jobs out. I mean, you talking about Milwaukee, you know, championship contender, Phoenix championship contender. Toronto's a good team. But I tell you what, that Boston job that opened up, there's gonna be some cash running that because you're right, he's not safe. He not
Right,
safe.
nah.
So we'll see.
I don't. I think he still got to prove himself a little bit more. And if they don't at least get to where they got to last year,
exactly. They got to get to the finals. Yeah,
he gonna get blamed for that. Like it's not gonna really fall back on the players. Like it's gonna be him that shoulder most of that blame. And I don't really know if they like really wanted him to be the head coach anyway. I think
right. Yeah, I don't think so. No, they don't
got
want
caught in a bad situation.
It's still Boston. It's still Beantown. You know they don't want that man in there.
Yeah.
They don't want him there. So we'll see, bro. We'll see, man. But hey, man, great convo, bro. It's good chatting with you.
Always, man. Always.
Glad to hear from you. I'm sure we'll be finding each other on a fantasy football head-to-head somewhere league soon.
I'm gonna get my get back this year, man. I had a rough year last year, man. I had a rough year last year.
Hey, I had a rough one too on one of them, man. On the one we was in, man. Came back and couldn't finish the deal. So man, I'm looking forward to it, man. It's always fun. But yeah, bro.
Bro.
We'll talk, bro. Appreciate you, man.
Already, bro.
Appreciate
it.
All right, bro. Peace. Real Sports Fan Podcast. We out here. Peace.